Well, Mrs. Orlando, thank you for joining me. And I'm Jane Stavum, Superintendent of Sioux Falls School District, and you have the dubious distinction of being the very first person, but hopefully not the last, interview. So thank you for being willing to do this.
Well, thank you for coming to LBA and welcoming us, and thanks for asking.
It's been an exciting few weeks because we have actually been bringing some students back for some summer programming, and I thought it might be helpful just to ask a teacher who's experienced now just some work in the classroom with kids, because there are a lot of questions out there about what does this really look and feel like in a classroom. So tell us first of all who you've been teaching the last few weeks, the age level, and just give us kind of an overview of what the purpose of this summer program is.
All right, the summer program is Jumpstart, so it's to give our students who have just finished kindergarten and first grade going into first grade and second grade that jump start with reading and math before school starts in the fall. So I've been teaching kids who just finished kindergarten, which is totally different.
Yes.
I usually teach second grade. They have a lot of energy.
They do have
a lot of energy. It has been fabulous.
Good.
It's been absolutely fabulous. So they were able to get into that routine of getting on the bus, getting off the bus, lining up, coming into the building, and what it's like and what it feels like to sit in a classroom again with a teacher and start learning.
Yeah, because it's been almost 6 months since our kids have been back in classrooms. So let's start with you. I know that many of our staff members are feeling some level of anxiety about coming back to the classroom. Were you feeling uneasy, or how did that feel kind of as you anticipated that first day?
I'd say I was a little nervous because I wasn't sure what it was going to look like. I had not taught that age level. I felt safe in our building. We were all wearing masks. We have our face shields when we're working with small groups. And the kids were so excited, and the staff working was so excited that I'd say my excitement was overwhelmingly more than any kind of anxiety that I would have had.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And you know, everybody feels a little bit differently about this, but it sounds like even with things like our spacing, we're physically distanced apart, which is one of the strategies, mass, or if you're far enough apart. And hopefully, what my hope is that some of the things like being spaced, like wearing masks, begins to fade into the background as you begin doing your work together, and it sounds like that was kind of what happened.
Absolutely. The kids, when they came, were already used to seeing people wearing masks. Some of the kids are wearing masks, and it's been a little difficult just to remind them every once in a while, keep your mask on. When you take it off this way, keep your hands down. But that's just normal teaching that we would teach about keep your hands to yourself, stand in line. So that part just becomes more of our daily routine. And for the kids, I think it felt pretty normal for them to come back. They were excited to come back.
That's good.
The first day I put on the face shield, we talked about, what do I look like? I look like an astronaut, ready to blast off. So when I put the face shield on the second day, no one questioned it. They become so used to the mask and the face shield. They're used to the hand sanitizer, spacing in line. The first couple of days, just getting used to sitting on the floor, they just haven't been in a classroom. So,
but you're reminding me, and people have heard me say this in a few different places, is our teachers are the experts in how to make things work with children. And I love that example of the astronaut because that's very age appropriate, which would be something teachers are very, very good at. It's something that when you're okay with it, they become okay with it. And so when you think about it from a parent perspective, some of the questions that parents have or things that are floating out there in social media are, how is my child possibly going to keep a mask on all day, every minute of the day? Tell me a little bit about the reality of that and mask breaks and how you worked with that when students needed to take a little break from a mask or when they were having a hard time with that. How did you work with that?
If the student came without a mask in the morning, I offered them one, and usually the students who forgot their mask took one. They knew exactly how to put it on. One day I had a little boy, he forgot his mask, and I put it on and he said, "It's too big." And I said, "You're right, what could we do to fix that problem? How do we solve that?" And he said, "Well, this is what my mom does. My mom ties it behind my ear." I said, great idea.
Yeah.
So I just tied it behind his ear. He was fine. Sometimes the kids will pull the mask down when they want to talk if they feel that they're not being heard.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they can take them off when we go to recess or they're outside and running around.
Yeah. We've got some breaks, and people will begin talking about that. You know, many of our teachers aren't on site yet. Our elementary principals are not back in their buildings completely yet. So all that's going to begin to take shape even more in the coming weeks. What would you say to your colleagues about things that have worked, things that you found that maybe you weren't expecting, or some helpful tips that you could offer them?
Oh boy. Well, hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Hand sanitizer everywhere. I have hand sanitizer at the front of the room. I have hand sanitizer at my table where I do reading and math small groups. I also have towels to wipe down the tables in between each group of students. So maybe a little bit of a bucket with a spray of Purell or whatever they're using to sanitize the table. I was also considering getting an apron to wear so that I would always have hand sanitizer and my own pencil. One thing I've done with pencils at the table is I have two buckets. One's yellow and one's red. The yellow bucket are the pencils the students use at the table. When they're finished, they put it in the red bucket. At the end of the day, I can sanitize all of those.
Yeah, see those systems, those are the things that work well. And again, teachers are expert at systems. And I know you've also had great help from our EAs and people who are supporting your work in the classroom. Let's talk about the most important thing, which is teaching and learning, because we know that our students have missed a significant chunk of learning time. And you've had our younger students who are at that crucial time when they are learning to read. The brain is developing, their vocabulary is developing, and there are some pretty important things happening. But that's true at middle and high school as well in terms of their progression of learning. What did you see for gaps or for maybe where students had fallen behind a bit? And what were the results of bringing them back for teaching and learning in our classroom for what you saw now as we end that program?
Excellent question. The first thing I saw was getting them back into a routine of what are our procedures and what are our behavior expectations. Just even walking into the building, trying to walk quietly, sitting down, and getting their brains ready to learn. The kindergartners did forget some of the sight words, some of the letter sounds, so we worked on that. They did forget how to count backwards. That's a tricky thing.
Yes, it is.
So we worked a lot with reading, sight words, phonemes, making all the sounds. They were eager to go back and learn that. And I heard so many times, oh, I remember this. So it was getting that jump start for their brain. And I truly feel that this program got these students ready to come back.
And their teachers will appreciate that as they come back into their classroom. What would we have missed had we not brought kids back for summer services?
Oh, I think we would have missed the kids being able to see each other, first of all. They were so excited. For Jumpstart, here we kept all the students in the same grade, so I had all of one kindergarten class in my room. So the first thing was recognizing their friends and being able to work and play with them again. They loved that. Getting into that routine, they would have missed all the reading and the big books and the practice writing and the pencils and just how to do everything at school. This program really worked.
That's good.
My wish is, I wish it would have been a little longer.
Oh,
A little longer than 3 weeks would have been
Which is something
great.
to think about for next summer. We know that, this summer was kind of coming off of our closure, and now we're trying to make our way towards starting in the fall. But we also have next summer, and I think it will be really important to think about how we use those bridge times when we're not typically in school for how we can accelerate and continue to provide supports, as well as helping students proactively maybe even gain some things going into the next school year. So
Yes.
we appreciate your willingness to talk with us. I think as people come back and they see children, I know my teacher heart still feels that tug of wanting to have kids in the classroom. We know it's going to be a different kind of a year and that people have different feelings and thoughts about coming to the classroom. But I think we've seen evidence, at least in our summer programs, that this has been a really good thing for kids, a really good thing for teachers, But with all of those things that also help us feel safer doing so, the hand washing, the sanitizers, the masks, the physical distancing, all of that's going to help us to do things in a little different way, but still help us get teaching and learning underway.
And also thank you to the parents.
Oh, absolutely.
The parents that have been very proactive in teaching their kids how to wear masks and reminding them about hand washing and using the hand sanitizer and explaining in kid-friendly terms why do we have to stay 6 feet apart so that they can understand it at their level. So I say thank you to all the parents who support us too.
They are our partners, and we hope in the weeks leading up to school they'll do all of those things that you just said, because that's a huge help when they come to our schools.
It is.
Well, thank you, and I hope that you enjoy the weekend ahead, and we appreciate all of your work and the work of your colleagues with our summer programs.
Thank you very much.